IVM.
This show is brought to you by IVM Podcasts. At IVM, we strive to get you the best podcasts every week, week in and week out. This has been a great week on IVM. We're launching a new show on the 21st of May, hosted by Veda. It's called Who's Your Mommy? And it's all about motherhood. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. Also, check out Cyrus Says. He had Tanvi Mehra this week as a guest. Tanvi basically is a yoga instructor, and she makes Cyrus do yoga in the studio. That's quite fun. Also, make sure you catch Simplified this week. Chuck, Naren, and Shrika talk about how Facebook is targeting you. And, well, given the news these days, I'm sure that's something that's of interest to everybody. On Paisa Vaisa this week, Anupam talks to Kaustav Belapurkar. He's the director of fund research at Morningstar, and it's a really interesting episode that gets into the ins and outs of mutual funds. Please definitely do check that out. So, guys, we also have a great new Hindi show called Pulyabazi. This last Thursday, we released an episode around the Indian-Afghanistan relationship over the years, and it's really interesting. The show is hosted by Pranay and Saurabh, both of whom are part of the Takshashila Institute, and I think that we're very glad to have them as part of the IVM family. And guys, just a reminder, please follow us on social media as IVM Podcast. Please do reach out. We would love to hear from you. Also, wherever you're listening to this podcast, please see if you can give us a rating over there, or if you can give us a review over there, whether that's Apple Podcasts or whether that's CastBox or wherever you're listening to your podcast, or the IVM app for that matter. It's a really good app. You should check it out. And now let me get you onto your show.
You're listening to Keeping It Queer with Navin Narona.
Hello everybody, welcome to Keeping It Queer. Today we have in the studio with me Praful Baweja, not related to Harman Baweja and the like. Praful is not a fan of labels, but he identifies as gay is what he told me. We'll discuss this soon. He also runs his own marketing consultancy and also operates 6 Degrees, which is a networking tool for a lot of queer individuals who would like to talk to other people. Welcome Praful to the studio.
Hey. How's it going?
You have heard this show in anticipation before you came to the studio, didn't you?
I heard 2 episodes of like Friends. So it's like comfort zone things. So there was Savio, there was Ghazal and Jerry. My co-founder of 6 Degrees, I did not care to hear his bits because I've heard him for 12 years. Harish's episode I skipped on purpose.
Harish was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So, Praful, tell us about your life. Where have you been all these years?
So I'm a Mumbai boy. Been here most of my life. I speak Marathi more than Punjabi, which is supposed to be my mother tongue. And it's funny. I've been here. I've been working since an early age. So I am 37, but I come with a big baggage of 20 years of experience or whatever as far as work is concerned. And
so you started work early, you're saying?
Yeah. During our days, BPOs were not in yet. Yet I love to do stuff. So
you always wanted to work and do something, basically.
Yeah. In vacations, I would go to my grandfather's home, and he had a little high court judge, so loves books and used to hoard them.
Nice.
I get it.
It's your grandpa.
Okay. So I get it from him. Reading as a child, you would find me in pile of books at any given point of time. And I would not play. I would just be reading.
I think that's more ideal. Like that's my childhood also in many ways.
Yeah. So
once I found books and the beauty of lying on a bed, stomach first, and just reading overnight as well with torches and shit.
Reading under the sheet, like all the comics. Yeah, I gave myself the homework if I have to finish X amount of comics and X amount of. So in Nat Geo, Reader's Digest used to have those sections, right? Those all in a day's work and all those anecdotes and little word puzzles and stuff.
Everything
like
in
that.
Reader's Digest was really good because of the way they used to write about stories and stuff.
Yeah, so I used to skip the main stories, go to those 1-pagers, 2-pagers, read them, laugh to myself.
Jokes,
and crazy. So there he had a library. And then after a while, because it was such a big one, he had 6,000-7,000 books and comics and things.
Where was this?
This was in Karnal. So
and it still exists basically?
No, it doesn't.
Oh shit. It's not a bigger tragedy than that library actually going away, I feel.
No, all his legal books and all are there, which is his thing.
But who cares
for me,
about
I
this?
have my 1,000 odd things that I developed in my life. So it's lying. Then Kindle.
Best.
So
I'm still not a big fan of electronic e-reading. I'm still getting to that point in my life where I can still read books through a tablet or whatever. But I think we have had this constant debate on our podcast as well.
So within 2 hours every year of me reaching, I would know where each book is kept in terms of section. I would know what is this year's tariff, if anybody's borrowing it for a day, if they're taking it home, if they're reading it here, what not. I would sit on the counter. I would have this whole, okay, petty cash is X is supposed to come in, this is pending, this is due. I would have my handover. This is like the age of 8 or 9.
Nice.
Till 12 it continued.
A young librarian.
Yeah, completely.
Did you people also like when they were like talking inside?
No, I would like really bully them. Yeah, I would really bully them.
At 8?
At 8, yeah.
How would you bully the other?
Last time that something that you submitted, I'll cut money for it. I will so cut money for it. You better be good to these books when you return them. And keeping a track of things, doing it as a project was fun, but not in academic way, like more practical life skill way.
So that was one job you did, library management.
One of the first ones. Yeah.
And what else did you do in the summers?
So I used to do copywriting. From copywriting, started events and did my PG in them while already being. So you sometimes need a few degrees and certificates only for stamp of approval.
Or you need 6 degrees sometimes.
6 degrees you need all the time. They connect you, so you require them. Plug. So this a particular thing where I started as a creative resource, then knowing how it functions within a larger scheme of things. So from copywriting to conceptualizing for events, from conceptualizing to then selling it, so client servicing, BD and all, and then the whole project happened.
So basically
over 10,
everything, you know
years.
everything about everything in one way or the other about work culture and corporate culture in general. Because I see you in the whole queer community, and you're one of those those guys who people rely on to get shit done. You know what I'm saying? Like there are a lot of people who turn up and they're showstoppers, but you are not only like a showstopper at the parties, but you also you're there in the front running part of it.
See, I would rather be behind the scenes than in front of it. Like whatever that I do, that's general approach in life. So television, when I do every year, I end up doing 1 or 2 interesting projects that are my passion projects, right? So then when it is right from scripting to marketing to everything of it, I'm game. My stakes are all in. So something that I believe in, I will go for it. I will do whatever is needed to make it come true. 10 years that we've done Pride, right? First year, Abhina was in middle of the whole transition at that point of time, and
Abhina Ahir.
Yeah. Abhina was my classmate, like college friend, Abhijit then, and we used to sing together and all, and no idea, this one was very emotional in life, and I used to keep wondering why this one's so emotional, what is wrong, and stuff, and used to be very sentimental cards on Friendship Day I've got. I clearly remember this one giving me card and all, and we've just sung few times together on college these things, and then when the transition happened, when I found this one after those many years, like 6-7 years in Humsafar, I was like, my God, you too. Like it's
always a rare joy, having someone from your past life in a way, like be there after, like you also like figure out what your scene is.
Yeah, so like first 2-3 years, nobody from my previous life who was in the queer scene. Then when they turned up, it was like every time it used to be a little yippee, little dance, even before you go and say hi to them, and like, okay, I spot X and I spot Y. I don't know how freaked out they will be, but I'll go say hi. Little rhyme, but yes.
I saw one of my cousins at a Pride last year. I don't know what's happening, but I'm pretty happy for him.
So Pride, we worked behind the scenes. I've been called all sorts of labels because 20 organizations, a lot of individuals. There is a lot of hierarchy. There's a lot of work behind, and it's a thankless job. It's always a thankless job when you're actually doing something, and you realize we create funds of about 2.5 lakh to support 20 odd events. Yeah, that's such a small kitty that you pay for people's food one time properly, and second time you just have traveling money. You have nothing left to support an event technically per se. Correct. But we stretch the buck till nobody's business, and then gather a lot of resources, a lot of support elsewhere. A lot of people take care of a lot of costs, and we're constantly doing this. So almost 10 years of doing it behind the scenes for a lot of Pride stuff helped us bring and make it a dinner table conversation, right?
True.
So those are the results. We slogged behind the scene. I would rather slog behind the scene and then enjoy benefits which are this big that parents can sit and talk to children and say that, okay,
This Pride happened, yeah.
yeah, so do you,
It's on TV.
yeah, are you really interested in girls or no? As a conversation was not there 10 years back, right? When Dostana happened in whatever
2008, I think.
2008, and people slam it. People slam it as, oh, it's such a pretense for thing, blah blah blah. Just removing the stereotype of how effeminate or how camp gay men have to be, and then 2 chopsticks or a spoon and fork conversation, which is funny yet exists, and we address it at all given point of time.
Yeah, and we also address it through humor. Basically, that makes it much easier to deal with the trauma of it all.
So, like, there was a meme, I remember somebody posting, like, okay, in straight relationships, who's the guy and who's the other guy? Like, I don't get it. So that
That's
has
hilarious.
been
That's hilarious.
blitz, okay?
Yeah.
So something like that. So these conversations, when we have seeded, now we can move forward. So now I'm doing
Beyond
stuff
that.
beyond running around for
yeah.
X particular thing. Now 15,000 people walking in Pride, and that's a number. People can't not see that. And there are younger kids doing whatever they are taking care. So now we have things. So Qgraphy was a platform I could support. 6 Degrees is there. There is such talent. There's such pool. There is a certain level threshold that we have crossed. So I have new things to work behind the scenes now.
I think in terms of how the curation of queer events has been, from the time I stepped into the scene, I feel like there's been a massive change in how it's done, and also I assume that the funds have also become a little more readily available. Over
Support
the past
has become. Funds may not, because see, still our dependency is on crowdfunding, and people have pockets which are only this deep. Everybody gets salary once a month if they are working in that kind of structure. Other structures with the current market environment are very funny. So people do support us with a lot of freebies. They support us with a lot of
sponsored stuff,
a lot of barters, lots of other things. There are brands who have always tried to enter the domain and speak for us, and allies are doing a crazy fabulous job. I know a couple that stood for us, a straight couple, because during Pride, 30 events and everybody's everywhere. These are only set of people who are working behind the scenes and gathering things. So along with me for Vagina Monologues, Kazad has very gracefully said that, okay, y'all can come and take funds with a little donation dabba in our show, and y'all can invite people for Pride. I think this is 2012. And
that's, I think, what happens with many subcultures in general is that when the heteronormative dialogue vanishes, something like Vagina Monologues, which focuses on the life of women and their struggles with orgasms or with sex or with relationships, and compare that to now like a queer platform, right, where things are in their own way a whole new subculture that people don't know about. So when these two merge, I think it forms a much bigger alliance and stronger alliance than the heteronormative conversation, because now the conversations are changing. Now these people are kind of taking the main stage and flipping things on the head.
So see, when you put a magnifying glass to anything, or when you look at something for a while, clarity obviously is achieved. So first step was getting people out of the denial of existence
of queer people.
So invisible minority conversation that went off. Then when you acknowledge the elephant in the room, whether it is pink or black or rainbow, then that happens. Hey, elephant, yes, it's sitting in the corner, not doing anything to me. Whether I should acknowledge it or no is another thing. So these people stood with us, a straight couple, and they invited each and every viewer for the show. He went and he prodded people and took money out of them. Hey, put some money for the Pride. Will you ask people to come walk with us? It's this day, this time, blah blah. So that's the kind of support we've been getting.
I want to bring up something that's been bugging me for a while now, and I think you'll agree with this, that what happens at Pride now is that there's a whole group of this whole sect of people who just come there for the Instagram photos. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate, because I have been behind the force of putting the Pride together or performing or raising funds or whatever.
Yeah.
So we understand the importance of why it's such a big deal for us. Going on the road that day doesn't just mean like just the celebration part of it is one thing, but it's like all your lives, anxieties and everything come to the boiling point over there. At the same time, then you see all these youngsters who are just like college kids who are just out there, millennials. They care about the gay movement probably, but for them it's mainly like, oh, I'm so hip, I went to a Pride and I did all these things. How would you react to that?
See, something very simple and basic is they're acknowledging it, right? In whatever manner that their capacity is.
But it grinds my gears, honestly. Like, when I see that, there's honesty, yes, but it's also there's a
window of dialogue there. And see, I teach. So I teach a lot of these young kids. So visiting faculty and most of these are MBAs. So I have certain expectations of people's exposure. Last fortnight, I spoke on a panel for one of these top 5. Like it's part of these
conclave sort of.
Group of educational institution which is very, very reputed. I'm not naming them. Yet they also have an engineering college in the same this thing.
Yeah, that has to be there.
Yeah.
That is the biggest moolah making enterprise.
So engineering plus MBA, we'll give you 1 + 1 both. Andar se dono karke niklo. So if that is the conversation, so these younger kids organized something and they wanted somebody on panel and they were somebody senior walked out and they were like, oh my god, will you come? And they asked me less than 24 hours to the show. I said, okay, I'll have to shuffle 2 meetings and that's about it. I will do it. If 2-hour slot, I will just say that, okay, one you push first thing in the day, one you push last thing in the day, and I'll be able to make space for, speaking. Having done that, the kind of questions that they came with, because nobody's really addressed it for them. Nobody's spoken to them one-on-one in the manner respecting them and actually saying that, hey, this is called lip service and this is called actual this thing. When you really treat somebody like a person, you have to begin it that way. So for me to treat those people as a person is when I don't judge them, right?
Yeah.
So people taking it out for Instagram, for this, for that, for whatever. First is thank you.
Yeah.
And beyond thank you is, hey, would you like to do more?
Yeah, we'd like to understand more about this because we don't want to be put on a pedestal. We're not unicorns. We're not shining knights and armors or whatever. We're just like you. That the whole point is that the inclusion of it is just that don't make me feel like, oh, you're a rare creature who's come into our lives.
But that always happens. Oh, I have a gay best friend.
Yeah,
all these.
I'm not your friend.
These trophy conversation that happens with hags. A lot of girls.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm going to be best friends with you for life. You're so cute. Finally, I have one gay person entering my life.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate all the enthusiasm. I appreciate all of the things that, okay, maybe somebody is only looked at your chest and spoken all your life. And finally somebody is not.
For a change, they feel very relieved.
And that is liberating. But that's that. That is not a guarantee of,
I remember one of my close straight female friends that came out to after 2 years of working with her. She's like, oh, that's why. I'm like, what? That's why. That's why you're not looking at my chest at all. Through this past 2 years, every guy has been staring at me differently. But
eyes are up here.
Yeah. So I think that's also a form of validation for them also that, we look at them as people. We don't look at them as objects sexually or otherwise.
Yeah. So even with the people who are not really exposed, like corporates, when we go and when we have a dialogue, I can't go judgmental saying that diversity inclusion policies are shit. Can't ever do that. There's a lot of effort. So coming back to 6 degrees and Genesis, before you ask, I'll share because this is connected, this is related. So professional entities even more in closet than queer people.
That's true.
Yeah. So you being in a field that is out there in everybody's face at a click, they can search your name and they can have access to your work. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
99.99% people do not have that leaving.
Yeah. If I ever have a turning point in my life and I want to absolve myself of my past, I can't. There's so much on the internet about my work in general that point to the fact that I'm queer. In middle, I was actually planning to move to Dubai, but I'm like, you know what, they're not going to do that. Even if they give me a visa, when I go there, they'll fucking beat me up for days.
So I've had that thought. I've had that thought. Yet you have havens. You can go to other countries. There are a lot of welcoming countries.
So, but like I was saying, especially the corporate kind, right? Like, it's an inherent thing for me, but I find like these suited men very hot in their own way. Like, there's something about them. I'm like, if only you were more open about this, then it'd be so much fun. Because I think taking off more layers of clothes is much more fun in general.
See, that, there's a whole industry that does taking off and putting on those suits, and that thrives on such attraction, and suited men are in demand.
But the taboo is what makes it more fun, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always about, oh my god, you are not supposed to do it, this is prohibited, and then it is fun. So having said that, we started figuring that there's a lot of potential that is untapped, and there's a lot of conversation which can happen at work. There's a lot of conversation because we spend almost 70% of our days working, earning, doing our things, right? And awareness there is a much, much larger void that we are leaving behind. And as conversation, because these kids as well, when they intern for 2 months, they would be slogging like nobody's business. There is some amount of compassion where it comes from, sanity where it comes from, they would acknowledge it. And if it is a straight person or a queer person or a person who's into inflatable dolls, they can't really judge the person. They would rather be with that person and do with that support. So,
and in many ways, like, corporate cultures are extensions of our college lives, right? So as soon as you form a clique or you form a group, they're always like, tujhe kaun pasand hai, and like, who do you like, and so all of that stuff, right? And you find yourself so awkward because you can't really come up and say these things very easily. I think also, do you work with HR people to like get them sensitized to this conversation?
So we work with HR, we work with media, we work with a lot of people, professionals themselves. So there are employee resource groups that are being formed across larger organizations, which are IT firms, which have workforce more than about 2,000 people. So they do that exercise very consciously.
Correct.
There are a lot of smaller ventures and smaller organizations where distinctions are blurred. HR is being done by the same person who's CEO. CEO is doing the same thing as
admin is one.
Peon se leke, this thing is just few people, because businesses grow organically. So people hold fort as much as they can. So even there, a lot of dialogue, a lot of conversations. If somebody is an interior designer and you're hiring that person, whether he knows cement is equally important as much as aesthetics and designs. Design ke liye they will run, there's a gay person who's nice, he'll have aesthetics. But do you know whether this thing will sustain or no?
Like, do you know about cement as much as you know about semen?
Yeah. So which mix are you like focusing on? So just to have a conversation like, hey, there is merit. There is merit. There are people at top of their game beyond your imagination who are rocking it and who are maybe not talking about it. Like, I know for a fact that community goes out of their way to prove a point. And LGBT people, like, there are girls who are like, when there are 10 out gay men, there's one like semi-out, okay, conversationally I won't decline kind of a lesbian woman, because we've not empowered, we've not been inclusive. Misogyny conversation that has been on is a big one. And
because in the corporate structure, women are obviously like, treated like second-hand citizens in many ways. And like when you're a lesbian, then even further you are suppressed in a way, I feel.
That's a social conversation, corporate or no. It is majorly a thing of, do we like people making decisions for themselves? We don't. We like people who do what you want them to do.
Yes men, basically.
Absolutely. Yes men, or at least people who do not jarringly look different from who you are. And that is the irony, because while our whole stance is, hey, you bring X, I bring X, it's like potluck, we have fun, I eat your dessert, you have my apple, blah blah blah. So that is the community conversation, right? LGBT community is more like that. Okay,
all the innuendos, guys.
All of it, whatever. So have fun. So when you do not look at the differences and you still make do with what is, it is fun. It is a lot of fun. And if you're not exposed to it, you'll always be like, hey, y'all have much more fun.
That's true. It's always true.
So we just teach people on that. So inclusion. So when you're not being sexist, that female colleague will go out of her way, organize things for you, do things that she knows, because she'll bring her supermom skills, she'll bring her father's technique from childhood, she'll bring so much more and put it on platter and give it to you, which they give it like... Women contribute a lot, right? So as a gay man, I have received beautifully so much support from all these women, and you gotta wonder, right? What did I do right? Like, because I would just not.
Because see, if you just hang out with these douchebaggy straight men sometimes who are just like putting women down for all the time, and you're just like wondering what's wrong, because there's like these pure creatures who just like...
There are douchebaggy gay men as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Who are always in search of an alpha. And who will always chase that whole bit, and who will anything remotely effeminate. Like cotyphobia is a very big real thing.
That's true.
And no femmes, no fats, no this,
Grindr
no that.
For you, like every other profile is no femmes, no. They'll watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but they don't want to acknowledge effeminate men in life.
Whatever that you're doing, you just say that, okay, I don't find the person sexually attractive, and that is absolutely your prerogative.
But you're valid. You're just like, it's okay for you to be this way.
I'm okay. In the bed, it's your business, right? You be absolutely discriminatory and phobic to people.
And go out of your way to like be a douchebag is so annoying, right?
That is completely annoying, because if you say that, hey, I don't like dogs, so I am not getting a pet or being close to them, not petting them, not interacting with them, I'm like, okay, you have a fear.
Yeah.
You have a fear, you are tackling it, you are addressing it, you are acknowledging it. Dogs per se are not anything less than most loving, unconditional, awesome.
You can't go and say that to all dogs, no dogs in my house.
Like you can't go jingoism, like really going and canvassing and picketing and X and Y and Z and put up signs like, hey, dog hater here.
Yeah.
What?
So to all the douchebags out there, both straight and gay, just accept people as they are, and we'll obviously have a better conversation around it, because everyone's awesome in their own way. We'll take a small break here, Praful, and we'll be back. I'm keeping it queer with Praful Baweja. We'll be back right after this break.
Shunyavan, 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 Shunyavan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got formed.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Shunya One is brought to you by Setu IMAX.
Welcome back to Keeping It Queer. I'm here with Praful Baweja, who's a member of 6 Degrees. So tell me more about 6 Degrees. Like, when was it formed and what was the idea behind it?
So I've been toying with this idea since 2012. So there's a small little working clan that is formed when you're working in Pride. So you have a certain people taking certain fronts, and they're pretty good. If they are handling things that affect 15,000 people at a certain point of time, then they know how to manage things. So you take the opinion, you say, hey, okay, there's nothing where students can look up to others and have mentors. There's not in the queer scene, because there's a dating thing that is on, there's a party thing that is on. Sports wise also, there are a few things, like Umang does this QPL where these girls play. Gacy does tennis. Umang does QPL where cricket happens, and all the dykes are fabulous and the guys are with pom-poms cheering on the side. No, guys play as well, but I'm like, cheerleading is such a fun thing that we don't get to do elsewhere. We do it here.
Change the gender norms.
Beautifully. And we dance well. So hell yes.
Yes, we own it, sister.
So all this happening, yet there was nothing as a professional for me to go and speak and to connect others. Daily, us being where we are after whatever journey that we've had, today I get updates of at least 800 to 1,000 jobs in a day. That's the information pool that I'm sitting on.
Correct.
Do I connect people in the community who require that? I will be personally, with the time and resources and the kind of thing that I have, I would be able to do maximum 8 to 10, maximum individually. If I create a community resource and put it out there, the reach increases to maybe 800 or 1,000. Currently there's something called No Query that is there. And something that 6 Degrees also supports.
What is that exactly?
That is an online forum, closed group again, because people's identities, the consent matters.
So how would you spell it to me? Like, so if we
No Query, NAUQUERY. N-O-U-E-E-R-Y.
Okay,
It's by
Naukri, but with a query. Queer angle.
we love doing that. So everything is queer. Everything is Q.
Welcome to keeping it queer.
Yeah. Quitchen is Q-U-I-T-C-H-E-N. QPL, Qgraphy.
Yeah.
So Q is like a big thing. So
Because the alphabet, the letter Q itself has been like so outcasted from its own alphabet soup. We kind of like it's in a way a metaphor for us itself. Like we use it in our own stride. Like
I'm visualizing the tale in a very different manner right now. But so 6 Degrees started from that as a conversation. Then ultimately, when the Pride was in a certain kind of good shape. It was in young hands, and we could play hands free, and we could attend, and which is a very big deal. Me and Pallav, the first year that we walked as ourselves after 8 years of organizing, when you're not with permission files and when you're not managing the crowd and talking to the cops and running from one end of Pride to another and getting
walkie-talkie in your ears.
And walkie-talkie, though we can't afford, but yet the thing of cops threatening, we'll put you behind. Permissions have come in this one's name, and you have stood and you've said that you will control the crowd and this and that.
Wow.
They're always
every year.
Every year we get threats. Every year we get threats that y'all are going. Every year we think we are going to be behind the bars because some reason or other. Kuch na kuch to definitely it goes, and ultimately it doesn't happen because
they are afraid that there's thousands of people behind these guys.
See, 30 permissions we take legally. Patil does that. Vivek Patil, Humsafar's resources are used and 20 organizations support at least. And so it's exhausting process. By the end of it, when you walk as yourself, when you can actually think of what costume to wear, because it's not about running around. It's about, hey, I can wear colors and I can do things and just walk as myself. It's a very big deal. The first year that we walked as ourselves, we were like, wow.
That's how it feels.
This is awesome. I'm a part instead of like organizing this madness mammoth thing, telling people jaldi chalo, telling Dholwala that okay, keep moving, or like stay put, others are going to join in, whatever that you're doing, crowd control, and then telling police people not to use their sticks and not to like really do that, or not to speak to people what our rights are, what our routes are, what our things are, because we know, so we keep on saying that. And then green team, that
the pickup team,
that pick up all the garbage and telling people not to smoke, not to do all of those. So when you sense all of that, when you're with friends, not in a
organizational category,
you look after 10 people around you, you keep them inside the line. That's what my sister came once to a Pride, I was with her for 2 minutes. Exactly 2 minutes. Okay, post that, back to running around and
like
handing
the LOC everywhere you go. Yeah,
handing the flyers, checking out which volunteer needs what help, what thing is where, acha balloon wala kidhar, acha ye kidhar, wo. It's insane the amount of tasks that you have. Harish and 1-2 others are always on stage, so what is their need, what is somebody else's need, you have enough to do. Moving beyond that, when 6 Degrees happened, we could have smaller conversations, more intimate conversations, which are not so big, which are lighter, which add value, which have action points. So now we have monthly meetups. We have a few things where you as a professional can come. You can say, I seek XYZ as support or as a growth path, personally, professionally, and community-wise. So this difference I would like to make it to the community. I offer this, I seek this, and I am this.
And how many have you done so far?
We've done 7.
Okay.
8th one is this week.
Yeah, where the karaoke is happening and I'm not there.
Yeah, where the karaoke is happening, you're not there. And we will, and this is the final karaoke format. We change the formats often. Next will be board games and a live band.
But karaoke.
Yeah, you can sing along the band. So
it's not much fun. If you see me perform at a karaoke night one night, then you'll have to you'll understand why I want it.
Okay. We'll do lip sync battle then.
Done.
I love to change formats because I'm, like as a creative, crazy person, I would rather do something that others are not doing or is not easily replicable by others. So lip sync battle is much more fun for me than plain Jane karaoke. Then you get all your performing, bits together and come, bring it all.
Do it,
Not only
be the
lip sync.
ultimate diva.
Yeah.
My point is that when you have like a 6 degrees gathering where different people from who are not only queer but also from different walks of life trying to connect, and
we are open to all the people who are not phobes. Allies are also there, and people who would like to work with the community are more than welcome. So the support that we get maximum is from the venue people. So when we go seek out these venues, like most of these guys, okay, they have been such amazing support, right from the person who Sambar, Hood, Socials, and others who are in queue now. Like, I'm waiting for things to be on paper. So
but that's a beautiful thing, right? Venues are now opening up to queer culture. They are actively looking out to organize events, and because they've realized that the biggest problem for any community is gathering together in a private or public space rather.
See, what happens is, again, speaking business, I have to walk it. If I understand when to block their time, how not to inconvenience others, how to be welcoming to all of their requirements as well as do mine.
Because for them it's F&B. If people come and get their food and beverages, by default they make money. So
they have a certain support capacity. They have a certain requirement in terms of money, in terms of how their people should be handled, how their things should be dealt with. When you, like 16, 17 years of doing events as part of my main vocation as a marketing consultant, I understand that, and putting that to picture. Sushil, who's one of the co-founders along with me, is brilliant at design. So for me, doing those flyers, doing those communication pieces which are aesthetically there, which present them in a decent light, a job for PR or any of that, them being spoken not in a frivolous way but in a certain manner. Like, I've got enough that I don't want to be this chamiya place. People say that to us, that okay, I don't want to be this, okay, flaming queens coming and dancing X, Y, Z and blah. I'm like, flaming queens I can't say, but you not being canvassed as a place which is only and only about, you're not being reduced to item number place which is about a certain kind of crowd and which is comfortable to a certain kind of crowd as well. A working person after office will go and still hang out at your place after that. They will not say, nahi, main dance bar mein aaya hu, kind of a thing. So I will ensure that happens, because we will keep that conversation in a certain genre. Whenever that we present you, whenever that we speak about you, whenever that we design activities, it will not be in a certain manner which is breaking your brand. So we do that because there are lots of responsible people for brands. There are brand consultants, there are brand heads, there are CEOs, there are architects, there are people who come and sit in this room who are driving volume and businesses. Like
so there's varying range of gathering that people can find.
They come. So they have healthcare professionals, they have everything. I have business of the day, topic of the day being discussed, and at that point of time there are people who are manufacturers who are sitting in the room and saying that, hey, this is the new thing that we are manufacturing, I want to canvas it to so many places. And there are some beautiful leads that come.
So when you say canvas it, what does it mean?
So when we give a 10-minute slot to business of the day, 10 minutes to topic of the day. Topic of the day can be something as simple as growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So in a smaller conversation where it is just professionals, corporates keep on saying team building, team playing and all of it. Where it comes to a more universal conversation where students, business owners, professionals who work themselves like doctors, lawyers, blah, 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 CAs, all of those kinds, as well as, investors. When that's the spectrum that you're catering to, growth mindset is a conversation that I can always have. So we do something like that. We do something as activating your leads. So this time we are going to do a referral mechanism conversation where it's something as simple as 5+3. It is a technique, it's a tool that I will share that, okay, these are the active hours when you're doing how to make cold calls with your this thing, because business development and strategy is what I do. And over the years, what is the power hour, what are the ways in which people do, how much to dip into your own personal resources, how much to ask for referrals or leads, where it gets really irritating for a person to do that. So I will do business development strategy conversation this time and lead that and tell people how to do that, because people are stuck in that. There are a lot of people who can't gather enough business or business leads or know how to structure it. Maybe they do it abruptly. So we'll tackle that.
So one important question that comes up here is that while you're trying to, bridge the gap between employers and queer employees as such, or queer employers and vice versa, what is the state of the trans community and how is that representation working right now?
So see, there are a lot of employee resource groups that I spoke about. They are doing sensitization. They are doing a lot of conversation. Yet trans communities' employment remains the biggest challenge. For me to have a trans person being, like, they're very educated, a lot of them, unbelievably, like, the number of graduates that are there is so high, and school dropouts are also there. I'm not saying there aren't people who had to give up on their growth and development and blah. Yet the willingness to really perform, deliver is crazy. Like NGO jobs, a lot of them, when we give it out, like a certain area, a certain task, a certain project for a trans person to really achieve, and they are employed. Whoa, the kind of work that we have seen with the support and all. Humsafar people will really tell you about how it is in Bombay. There's something interesting. There's something coming up, which is the Chamber of Commerce, LGBT Chamber of Commerce, shush thing, which we are working on.
Which will go out on a podcast.
It can. Because it's got legality sorted. So as long as papers are sorted, launch date and who's doing it and who's not doing it, conversation is another. Yet people should realize how big it is. So when 30,000 businesses work with the National Gay Lesbian Chamber of Commerce in US, I'm in touch with UK set, I'm in touch with the US set, I'm in touch with at least 8-9 countries where this whole LGBT business conversation is big, where a brand can be made or broken. Because if I can even give you 2% of your annual business, even if it is as simple and small as that, we as a community are much more influential, by the way.
That's true.
A lot of friends and a lot of family really go by what we say. So our share of voice in spends is much larger. It is more than 10%, by the way. And if you are missing out on 10% of your business, you are being foolish. And when World Bank issued the cost of homophobia for India and cost of homophobia globally, if people are not acknowledging it, it is their discomfort. It is not that does not have solid grounding or it does not have merit as a conversation. It just does have. So today when I speak about a certain number of room nights to a hotel when they're doing a retreat, and I say, hey, would you like to consider LGBT retreat? 2 years of conversation will take me to get them to a certain level of exposure. Yet it will be. Business owners are listening currently. Their ears are on ground. There are people who are actively getting engaged. There are a lot of others who are saying that, hey, let me get my clout in place and I will. A lot of it. Business conversations are awesome. Trans people are right now being showcased. Them being included is a matter of time. We are working, a lot of us are working, a lot of trans people themselves being on top as director of organizations, etc. in NGOs really helps. Abhina, who I mentioned, is an empowered, superb person. You've already had trans people on your show, and them just being themselves is such
mind-blowing,
amazing gift. And just showing up as yourself is,
and not being apologetic about it at all. That's badass.
That's something that is a social.
I mean, but like the whole fact, the people who look at you, because I've hung out with trans people, like at cafes and stuff, and I'm getting conscious because like I'm like, dude, everybody's staring at you, and they're like, fuck it, dude, I don't give a shit, because for me it's like, being myself is the most important thing. I'm enjoying my coffee right now. That's what matters.
See, so earlier it used to happen in community events as well, about 5-8 years back, where this whole drag queen culture had not set in and blah, and oh my god, drag is the performance conversation. It was not looked upon like that. There were a lot of staffs in a lot of social events that was not really welcoming. Bouncers being weird, people being like service staff being weird and all. And if I would shoot right back and abuse the hell out of them, like when you push me to a point, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're giving me a drink, you're
Like
not giving my
case
friend a
with the
drink.
Pune Phoenix Mall that happened now,
Yeah.
where they didn't allow a trans person enter.
Yeah.
It also happened a couple of years ago in Hyderabad when I was there. I actually saw this happen to a trans person or a cross-dresser, not even a trans person for that matter. Only a person who was just like, a guy with a beard wearing a sari was stopped outside a mall. So, one way of that is like when extremities come to you, then you have to like fight back.
Yeah.
But for no reason, getting a little hostile also can be like backfiring in a way. Is that what you're trying to hint at?
Yeah, so being defensive or going with the mindset that this is what is the approach that person will have is something that I don't encourage. A lot of people don't step out thinking that, okay, we'll be judged, we'll be this, we'll be that. No, sitting in a Starbucks with me, do it for 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drink coffee or not, because that is...
And go broke by the end of the
yeah,
week.
drink coffee or not is your prerogative or mine or whoever is with you. But yet, being visible there, the number of makeup artists that these stars run behind, how many of them are trans or who identify as trans?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how are they looked upon? They're looked upon as these exotic, exquisite people who for whom the whole party waits, and Katrina Kaif waits for somebody who I know for sure.
Yeah,
and
because she is the only one. That person is the only one fixing their mug, right? So it's very important.
So if they don't look like $1 million on even one single day, yeah, they actually also lose $1 million, and we fix that.
Yeah,
that's the role. And if you do not acknowledge it, it's your issue, it's not
so slowly
mine.
and steadily the queer population is moving into the mainstream. We're becoming your support without even you realizing, and in a way, like if we just all decide to back out one day, it'll be trouble. So let's all keep it stabilized in a way.
All of it, see, I believe in something which is fun and which is nice and which is funny, like when straight people apart from your set, which is there, that people assume that you'll be attracted to them.
Yeah.
And for me, hey, you are not like any Hrithik Roshan or whatever that I will be attracted to you. What makes you think that just because you are in the room and you have the plumbing that I will absolutely be attracted to you? Things become like that just
But
because...
if he's in a plumber's costume, then I don't know. Along with the plumbing.
It's also situational.
Yeah.
Where you are.
Under the sink.
Then it's a very different thing. Where it is in a cafe, so not happening. Yeah. I will so run in the other direction. I'm like, why isn't it fixed already?
Yeah.
So that's that. I would rather be with straight people, amongst them, being absolutely myself. It's without the label. Like earlier I said.
Yeah, so you were mentioning labels, and the reason I wanted to talk about this, I just want to touch on this, that despite the fact that we have all these things that divide us in a way, like when we even say LGBTQ, we are giving like 6 different letters to different communities within the community. But then again, like at some point labels become weird, and then there's also binary, non-binary, gender non-conforming. So it's an ever-evolving thing. How do you perceive that?
So 6 Degrees is called LGBTQ++ growth network. Simple basic room is acknowledging what is known, keeping space for unknown, plus keep space for unknown. We're welcoming for the evolution of conversation to happen, yet for convenience of addressing a subject in a certain matter. Because queer as a word gives a certain perspective. Yet the baggage of traditional meaning is big. Yeah, which treats it as something abnormal as well, which is not something that is where I'm comfortable with. I will happily call our gathering a LGBTQ gathering, and I will happily say that this is who we are, this is how we work, and you are welcome to join us. And that is the conversation. No camouflaging happening out here. So plus still keep the room for all the straight people, curious people, fence sitters, X, Y, Z. I'm gay on Mondays. I'm like all of those things can happen.
No sausage on Tuesdays.
Yeah, whatever. So like we keep that room, and there's no big deal about it. Yet being aware is what helps, and engaging in the dialogue. Intellectual masturbation can happen till
all the time.
Yeah, all the time, and people keep doing that. Theory is people's favorite things, and they can keep evolving it. I will read the theory, practicing. We'll practice what is on ground applicable, because even to explain LGBTQ to people has taken a certain time. When I say LGBTQ plus, even when I say LGBTQ plus growth network, people like, Acha, business network, we know. What is growth network? I'm like, it's not only about leads, referrals, you have to live with it. And there is a certain skills share that is required alongside that, right? There's a certain amount of hand-holding. We are engaging in dialogues with a lot of counselors because work-life balance looks like
हो
jayega. But it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
There is a point at everybody's life where we have to stop and look back at things and, tackle them, because you can't wait for one single apple to tumble the whole cart and then fix it. A lot of community people do that. Escaping their substance abuse, there is so much happening, and that affects their professional life as well as their personal life. For me, them being seen at professional places is important as a conversation. Whatever it takes behind the scenes, we will do that. And we ensure that there's a lot of interest and conversation happening in that domain. Yeah, and tackle it by that. What does being lesbian entail is an endless conversation.
Yeah.
I will be out of the room because these who are identifying as that particular,
So they should not feel lost in the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Their voices should be considered.
Their voice should be considered.
Cool, awesome. Thank you so much for talking to us, Praful.
Pleasure.
I hope you had an in-depth conversation about many things and you had a good time.
It was beautiful. It was awesome.
Thank you so much once again. And if you want to talk to Praful and his team, you can check out 6 Degrees. They have a Facebook page.
Absolutely.
And they organize events all the time. Go out to one of them and maybe they'll have a karaoke sometime and I'll show up there. And until then, we're keeping it queer and we'll see you on the other side.
Don't go anywhere. The Keeping It Queer podcast will be back with the Culture Vulture segment featuring Farhad right after this break.
Every week comes a show where 3 people come together to tell you about stuff they like. A movie, a TV show, a book, and other stuff. Tune in every Monday on the IVM Podcast app to IVM Likes.
IVM Likes is brought to you by Setu IMAX.
All right, back on Keeping It Queer now with Farhad for the Culture Vulture segment. Hi, Farhad.
Hi.
How you been this week?
I've been great.
You've been great. So you were telling me earlier about sometimes our parents unknowingly try to force anti-gender stereotypes on us, like how if you lost your glasses.
Oh my god. So my parents had a system. I was an extremely destructive child. I used to break my glasses, lose new compass boxes, tear my school bags, everything. So they would give me 2 tries. They would buy me something twice, and then the third time if I broke it or tore it or anything, I would get a shocking pink version of whatever it was. That includes a table tennis racket which my mom stuck pink tape on so that I would be extremely embarrassed to use it. So that was my side of it. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. I was thinking about how my mom only gave me a few rupees in change for the rickshaw ride to school and back.
Okay.
And it would be in a nice jewelry pouch, the pouch that PM Shah jewelers give you to carry your jewelry around.
Yeah.
I would have coins dangling in that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is not reinforcing gender stereotypes or anything, but so my parents had an amazing, now as an adult I find it super smart and intelligent. So when we used to watch a movie and if a sex scene came on, my mom developed this amazing fucking tactic, which was she would sit with a pouch of money beside her, and every time a sex scene was coming on, she would just throw money on the floor. And we were told before that during a movie, if money is thrown on the floor, whatever we catch is ours, like the last 5 minutes of Crystal Maze. Whatever we catch is ours, you know? Yeah. So I remember Sleeping with the Enemy, Rising Sun, all these movies back in the 90s. If sex came on, my parents would just throw money on the floor, and me and my brother would be like, money! And we would just jump. And totally later on we realized that we were being played, but we got some money out of it.
Won money. I think that's the best way.
Yeah. Who wants to see Julia Roberts?
So if you ever
get
went to watch Julia Roberts,
yeah.
I think she's pretty when she's not getting fucked.
Yeah, I don't know. Over the years, I'm were they overrated? Julia Roberts, Sandra Bullock, I can't stand Sandra Bullock.
Know. I don't get the deal about Sandra Bullock. Only Miss Congeniality is the only decent movie.
I actually like the stupid space movie, Gravity.
I don't like it.
Oh, I loved it.
It's good effects, but she's all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock supporters, fuck you. But yeah, I remember my mom and sister sometimes, like, if we went to a function and came back home, like they would basically just adorn me in all the jewelry they were taking off their body, right? So they would just like put the bangles on me. And,
how cute.
And then like I have a photo which I hope to probably share if I can with our listeners. But yeah, I'm like sitting like almost butt naked, but like with like fuckloads of jewelry on me.
Wait, how old were you?
I was probably 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and I kind of enjoyed that. Like I was posing for it and everything.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was like Mangal Sutra and all of that jazz. Yeah, so today let's discuss something on the lighter side. Last week we spoke about some somber shit.
Yeah.
And it can be quite...
So what's funny is I've realized that I have this little segment with you and we've never discussed out and proud queer representation in stand-up comedy.
Yeah, man. Like that's very rare also because
Straight up, tell me, who are your favorite stand-up comics?
There's definitely Ellen DeGeneres because she was there when nobody else was there.
Okay.
There's Wanda Sykes.
Oh my god, yeah.
There's Tig Notaro.
Yeah.
Deanne Smith.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know, I've named 4 lesbian comics.
Yeah, what's that about? But you know something, I watch a lot of stand-up comedy. For some odd reason, I enjoy lesbian stand-up comics way more than... Actually, there's no like balance or anything. But there's something about lesbian comics that is just so like raw, and again, it's...
It's
really sort of deadpan sometimes. I don't know. I just love it. I love
Tig
it.
Notaro for real. Like she's gone to so much shit in her life.
Oh my god. So I'll tell you what. I had never heard of Tig Notaro. I had never seen a stand-up routine. And one day I was at someone's place and I saw a book by her. I think it was called I'm Just a Person. Great. It was first of all, it's about her worst year. In 1 year, her mother died. She got C. diff. I don't know if you know what C. diff is, but basically a huge.
Her body was eating itself from the inside.
Yeah, her intestines are gone, and then she found out she has double breast cancer. She had to get a mastectomy. So she wrote a book about it. And when my friend, I was like, "Oh, that looks like a nice book." She said it's hilarious, and I was like, "Wait, but this is about all these things?" And she was like, "Yeah, just read it." And I read it, and I was like surprised that someone could make cancer and everything. And it's not a laugh out loud funny book. But I was surprised by how light it was for a
and
book
her take
about...
on it. Like there's a documentary on her as well on Netflix now called Tig. Which is about the same, like this worst year of her life. Where she's doing very well career-wise. She's writing for the Amy Schumer show. She's doing a TV show and she's on the news and everything. And all of a sudden, like everything goes to shit. And like how she copes by basically after everything happens to her in like 3 months span, she goes up on stage and decides to like basically do a show. And for the next 30 minutes, she just destroys.
I believe it went viral and shit.
There's no video of that. There's only an audio album that they sold afterwards. But that night, like all the big comics like Louis C.K., Bill Burr, and like Zach Galifianakis, everybody was there at that room just tweeting about how amazing it was. And that's what, so the news spread out that she's amazing. And so now, like, again, a new special is coming on May 22nd, I think. By the time this comes out, it'll be already out. But definitely a woman to look out for because... because life kicked her in the ovaries and she made back. It fun. Like one of the funniest jokes she has was like, I was mostly flat-chested all my life. So it's almost like her breasts heard me and then they started talking to each other.
Like, fuck this, we are out.
She's not appreciating us enough. Let's get out.
And
that's a joke about her mastectomy. And like I think that's ballsy, man. That's just like Ellen DeGeneres. Kudos to her for being that woman who came out when nobody else was going to talk about it in national TV in America. Right? And changing the conversation entirely with how you can make a daytime host who's a lesbian woman and have crazy women fans. There's more than Oprah at some point. Like her fans are crazier than Oprah's fans. Totally. So quite a feat.
It was amazing. And who else? Absolute lesbian. Not lesbian, she's bisexual. She identifies as Margaret Cho. That's not only like generally because she's gay or anything, but one of my favorite comedians ever. If Margaret Cho's in something, I don't miss it. Just crass as hell, talks about anuses, colors of anuses, like everything, there's no escaping Margaret Cho with that stupid Asian bit she does is hilarious. I love her absolutely.
She's crazy.
She's insane. Like I'm not, and her humor, I've seen a lot of gay guys when they perform, it's usually a lot of digs at lesbian women, but her burns on gay guys are like fucking insane.
That's true.
And she's hilarious, just straight up hilarious. Margaret Cho. There was someone I wanted to recommend who's straight, married, But I would definitely want everyone to check his workout because a lot of it, he talks about homophobia. He talks about his name is Chris Fleming. And the number one reason, because I love recommending someone indie who no one has heard of. No one has heard of Chris Fleming. Please check out his YouTube channel. He is amazing. And not only because he talks about like very relevant stuff to us, but I feel like he's such a modern stand-up comedian. His stand-up routines have PowerPoint slides in them. Even all his YouTube videos, his channel, he's so contemporary. The way he uses bad graphics, imagery, and everything, he's just off the hook funny. Like, hands down, one of my favorite comedians on the scene. In the past 1 year or two, I've been finding someone to top him, but like, sorry. But
funny.
Yeah.
But you should try comedy sometime.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think many people have heard of Kevin Meaney either, but I found him through a documentary which was about child abuse. But he was talking about how that documentary film's protagonist, I don't remember his name right now, Barry Crimmins, who was a comic who was talking about child abuse, inspired him to come out of closet. So he was like mainly a very straight-laced comic who would perform for like 20 years in the club circuit, being all straight and nice. And then like his marriage was annulled and everything, like, and was finally ready to move on as an openly gay man, and then start talking about being gay on stage. Very funny bits. Some of them are on YouTube. It's Kevin Meaney with like MEANEY, and he recently passed away though. It's quite tragic. So like, but good for him. Like he finally found his voice, and you know, in many ways they inspire someone like me, for example, or Nick Pillow, who's also my co-comedian in Bombay, or Vasu Pimlani from Delhi. Like there are not many queer comics who are.
You have to send me these names after, because you are the only out there comedian I know right now who's doing the word of the gays.
But that's what, right? Like it comes with its ups and mostly comes with its downs. Right?
You know, honestly, that's the thing. When you said I should try for stand-up, I have, and I just felt like I tried with a straight crowd and I used to tank so badly. But then one time I performed for a gay crowd and I had I was at such ease. It came so easily to me. In fact, I remember I did not even have any stand-up material on hand, but I just spoke and it was funny and it was great. So I feel
but
like
those are one-offs, right? Like I don't have the privilege of like, I'm facing straight crowds every night until I get like one-off queer event where sometimes even that goes haywire because you know, like sometimes queers don't want to listen. This happened to me in Bangalore. But yeah, like overall, I have to go up every night convincing these straight folks that, you know, listen to my story. And now it's much easier than it was like at least 2-3 years ago, I feel. So it's better now. Simon Amstel,
definitely.
Brilliant comic.
British, awkward.
Most British comics are just geniuses.
But they all moved to America eventually. Why did they do that?
Like how most of the comics from all over India come to Bombay. That's where all the money and work is.
I guess that's what it is. Because again, Simon Amstel, I used to follow him right from the time he was in Britain and stuff. But now I watch his American stuff. Not a huge fan, but again, he is amazing for his...
and you know, like the UK comedy scene is so hardcore. Like, you just have to look at the football fans to understand like how brutal they are. And they wouldn't shy away from heckling you. So whoever grows up in that circuit is so impervious to what happens around the world. American crowds will lap them up. No,
it's
kind
easy.
of like there's no guard over there. So it's much easier for them to transition that way. But yeah, it's cool.
And since we are talking about Britain, we can't skip just quick two mentions: Stephen Fry and Eddie Izzard.
Eddie Izzard is straight but a transvestite, so he likes to dress up on stage, and that's ballsy. It's crazy. I love him.
Honestly, I did. Hang on. I did not know Eddie Izzard is straight.
He's straight.
I think he's gay.
He's not.
I'm pretty sure he's gay.
A straight man who is a transvestite.
Shut the fuck up.
Go Google him. Yep. I did my research, Farhad.
Wow, I feel a little stumped.
1 Navin, Farhad 0.
Because I love Eddie Izzard and I just always assumed he's gay. He enunciates so well.
That's one of the reasons,
Yeah, he's amazing. For the longest time, I wanted to do some drag and perform and stuff, but then, nope.
Cool. So, Bianca Del Rio, who's season 6 winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, is an insult comic. And you should watch her stand-up routine, some of them which are on YouTube. She's hilarious. Like, this comes out, does not have much of a material going, but she just like looks at people and starts picking on them and picking them apart. Literally, like, as a drag queen, having that kind of sass and that tongue on her is just like too good.
Ooh.
So let's do a roundup of what we
So Chris Fleming, first of all, again, I can't stress enough on Chris Fleming. Just not a great comedian, but just everything. He's just hilarious. Tig Notaro, Margaret Cho,
Margaret
Stephen
Cho.
Fry, Eddie Izzard,
Ellen
Simon
DeGeneres,
Amstel.
Simon Amstel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you think people take our recommendations?
They should.
Yeah.
We are like really refined people
Nah.
who come week
No, I
after
sometimes
week.
listen to our shit and I'm like, wow, we suggest and recommend great shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, nah.
I hope everybody thinks like that.
Send us money, people.
Money.
money.
Money. And then Farhad can jump on it and we can play a sex scene in the background.
Yay!
Awesome. So that's the Culture Vulture segment. Thank you for listening to Keeping It Queer. And if you do listen to our recommendations, tweet out to us, shout out to us. We want to know that you are listening.
Please.
So, yes, and so we can get some validation. Guys, come on. I'm Navin Narona. You can find me at the @ House of Narona. And you can find Farhad on Instagram.
Yep.
And,
Just look up Farhad and I should be there.
Yes, look us up, talk to us, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Send some money.
There she stands, a podcast addict. Outside the bank, having travelled several miles to get in with other poor souls like her. The journey, though daunting for this youngling, will have some comfort because she has downloaded her favourite podcast. You can see more of her species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.